Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic host of Love is Blind News. That's right, more Love is Blind News. Alumni Natalie Lee and Deepti support Nick and Vanessa Lachey amid hosting backlash. We're going to hear what they have to say. Obviously, you know, people that have been near them, that understand their value and what they do off-screen as producers and co-hosts and mentors and all those things. It's important to hear what they have to say. Follow me on Instagram, @DNeals, if you want more of my social media content out there. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. Put some bread in the tip jar if you would like. And also every afternoon, Bachelor Rush Hour, the hit podcast, we compile all of the entertainment news in one place for you guys. It's free. All right, we made this video yesterday. Love is Blind's Lauren Speed and Cameron Hamilton may replace Nick and Vanessa Lachey. This was a Daily Mail article, and they had an unnamed source. Was it just a slow news day? Probably, but there is a petition to have them fired, and we'll have to see if it's got any legs. So this article just came out, Love is Blind's Natalie and Deepti defending Nick and Vanessa. Rather than read the article, let's take you right to the podcast. Have a listen.
Vanessa Lachey, who is getting a lot of heat, a lot of backlash about her hosting abilities and the way she questioned certain cast members on season 4 during the reunion. There's even a petition going around. I think it has more than 30,000 signatures.
42.
To remove Nick and Vanessa Lachey as hosts of Love is Blind. Like it is getting bad.
Not mom and dad.
Not mom and dad. Okay.
And by the way, the audio is a little low on their end. I've got it boosted as loud as possible.
Look, I know we're biased because of course we know Vanessa and Nick.
Yeah.
You know, we really considered them as mom and dad during filming. They played this role of mentors to us and providing advice as we were making our decision to say I do or I don't on our wedding day. I also agree with the criticism, but I also think that it's almost unfair as well of how much backlash she's getting. Like it feels.
Also, we have to remember the backlash from this live episode. A lot went down that we don't know about. The show took hours to get ready, and who knows? But obviously, you know, we talk a lot about having empathy for the contestants on their show because their limbic systems are fried from lack of food. Did Vanessa just have a bad day at work? And you might say, well, just about every time she's been a host, she's stunk the bed up. And I understand that. Absolutely.
It's like a dog pile.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. So here's my stance too, is when you see certain opinions,
Beautiful lighting.
see some comments, when you watch the reunion, you kind of have those comments in the back of your head. Like, for example, I was just talking to my mom about this randomly, but I was like, when I was watching it for the first time with no opinions, I thought it was fine. But then I went back and rewatched it again with those opinions in my
Very white teeth.
and I thought to myself, and I was like, oh, I guess I see where they're coming from. So it's like that, like-mindedness, and like you said, the dogpiling that occurs where it's like one or two or maybe even 100 comments, which is not that many in the grand scheme of things. But if they have a certain opinion, then it's hard to watch the show without that opinion in mind, if that makes sense.
No, I hear what you're saying for sure. And I completely agree with you because when Deepti and I were at the Love is Blind reunion watch party, people weren't reacting to Vanessa like they are online.
Exactly.
So yes, there's moments where I thought like, oh, she shouldn't have asked that question, or she does.
This is so common, right? Man, this is as common as a Bigfoot sighting in the Pacific Northwest. It's like, here we have, this rhetoric. When we see a comment we agree with online, we'll spit the same comment, and it's just kind of like, are we free thinkers or are we just all part of this, social media, comment section experiment where we find a comment that agrees with our thoughts and then we spew that. We see it all the time politically where someone will have a good snapback and then everyone repeats that. So are we free thinkers? Who knows?
I'm a bit biased, but it wasn't like what is happening now on social media. So I do agree with you that I think people are being almost overly critical and so just she's taking just so much heat that I'm like, I don't know if it's like fully deserved.
I know. And not to say that there weren't certain moments that we disagreed with, but there's like, I think it's just being pushed a little too far. Like the narrative is
it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch her go through that because Nick and Vanessa are just really, really nice and great people.
And they really do care about you.
Yeah.
And that can be
Another
true.
thing
And
that-
maybe they just need a better format for how they conduct these interviews. Or also, it can be very tough with co-hosts. For Nick and Vanessa to have to share duties, that's really hard because they don't share the same brain. So I think it's much better off when you have one person fully conducting the interviews. And maybe that's not Vanessa's strong suit. Doesn't mean I think she needs to be fired. I'll tell you, to be completely honest, I don't care. I don't care at all. It's probably better for my job if they stay on the show and just keep farting it up. But whatever. I truly don't care.
That came up on the news is Marshall confirmed Jackie.
All right. So I think that's all they had to say regarding that topic. But yeah, like I said, the petition's there. Now, are 42,000 signatures a lot? I guess so, but when you factor in that 6 million people tried to watch the finale, not a big deal in my book, guys. Not a big deal in my book. Now, if you want some other content that's not Love is Blind, I'm doing this new interview series where I take 3 cameras, I put them on my dashboard, 1 on the dashboard and 2 on the windows, and I'm doing like a James Corden style interview, and I'm interviewing right now Bachelor alumni, but I'd love to also interview Love is Blind alumni. If you know anybody that would be a good ride, someone that would have fun doing a little coffee date with me, let me know. But here is my exclusive premiere for what will be airing on Bachelor Rush Hour, the podcast. It was my chat with Susie Evans, who was the winner of Clayton Eckert's season of The Bachelor, and she actually mentioned several things within this interview that she has never mentioned before, that being a huge dramatic breakup that she had with her ex, the only ex she doesn't talk to anymore. Plus, she also discusses what it was like to deal with the TikTok scandal her and Clayton had to deal with. Here's my 1 minute long preview for you guys. This will be airing tomorrow on Bachelor Rush Hour and then the next day on YouTube. You can watch it now in its entirety, the full 40-minute conversation on Patreon at patreon.com/Dave Neal. I'm so excited you could do my chat here because I couldn't afford Hannah Brown. Who from the Bachelor world has aggressively slid into your DMs? Justin.
No, we're friends. He's never asked me on a date. Nobody asks you on a date. Like, everyone's just wanting to, like, chit-chat. And I'm like, I'm not here to chit-chat.
What day do you start filming Bachelor in Paradise? You haven't had the standard, traditional, welcome to LA, walk of shame?
No.
It is the best. Look at the palm trees.
In all honesty, I think I'm a little bit vain for that, you know?
Then you become, at least briefly, a disliked person.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Hated. I was like, I'm going to be the biggest villain of all time.
And there it is, folks. You can go check that out. I will have it on my podcast, Bachelor Rush Hour. Subscribe now. It's free. And again, let me know in the comment section if there's anyone you would like to be on the show, on the Driving with Dave. Right now, it's anyone who's in Los Angeles. But I've also got a setup here. I got this new setup I just bought that's going to allow me to conduct interviews while walking. So if there's anyone in New York City, I'll be there in a couple weeks for some stand-up comedy shows. Check my Instagram right there at DNeals. And when I post that reel, you can tag anyone that you might want me to chat with. I'm trying to bring some fun back to reality TV. Do you know what I mean? It's also just like dramatic that I'm trying to have some fun old car rides, and I think we need some more of that. Let me know what you guys think. We'll be back with more content right after this.